Stay in touch with us on Facebook and Instagram at Younique Yet Connected. You are now listening to episode 74 of Younique Yet Connected podcast. The theme for this episode is There is a way to reach a perfect relationship.
Couples who have been together 25 years don't always reach this stage. To get here, you have to consciously make an effort to prioritize connection over anything that happens in your relationship.
Hello, brilliant souls in and around the world. Nolitha Fenton is my name and Dolokazi is my clan name, and this is episode 74. A warm welcome to Younique Yet Connected podcast YYC. As always, Kinga and Nika on the other side of the virtual. Over to you, Kings.
Thank you, Noli. Hello, Nick. Dear listeners and co-editors, I am Kinga Silaji.
Thank you for joining our movement of translating this wisdom of systemic family constellations into a practical language that all of us can easily understand and, most importantly, implement in our daily lives. We are finally in the last stage of a romantic relationship series. The interdependent stage is our last stage. We kick off this episode by reading extracts from various sources to set the tone. Let's read. Does this mean that in order to be happy in a relationship, we need to be joined with our partner at the hip, or give up the other aspects of our life, such as our careers or friends? Paradoxically, the opposite is true. It turns out that the ability to step into the world on our own often stems from the knowledge that there is someone besides us whom we can count on. This is the dependency paradox. The logic of this paradox is hard to follow at first. How can we act more independent by being thoroughly dependent on someone else? We had to describe the basic premise of adult attachment in one sentence. It would be: if you want to take the road to independence and happiness, find the right person to depend on and travel down it with that person. This is by Amir Levine from the book Attached: New Science of Adult Attachment and How It Can Help You Find and Keep Love.
The paradox is actually not such a big paradox. By nature, we want to be socially connected, and being on our own is not a natural state for us. We are the strongest and fully able to trust life when we dare to be vulnerable. This trust comes from the knowledge that there is an unwavering support available for us. Independence is only a healthy dependence when it is in the context of interdependence. In an interdependent relationship, our sense of self-worth doesn't come from depending on another and doesn't come from not relying on anyone, but from the confidence of independence while recognizing the importance of taking others' opinions and feedback into consideration. The me moves to we. The me recognizes the power of working with others to achieve more than what was possible alone.
An interdependent relationship is a type of relationship dynamic where both partners recognize the importance of their emotional bond, while having a solid sense of who they are as individuals outside of their relationship. And the couple acknowledges they are two whole people who complement each other as opposed to completing each other. They start the relationship from a place of wanting, not needing, to an emotional connection. This is by Olivia Cassano, PED Magazine. One of the things that captured me, Kings, here in what we just read is that by nature, we want to be socially connected, and being on our own is not a natural state. That's very interesting for me because lately I've been seeing a couple of videos on social media of older women embracing not being romantically involved, yet fully embracing the idea of having friends who walk the journey of old age with them. Yes, it is indeed true that by nature we want to be socially connected. The inter-independent stage feels like a very high level stage, almost an intimidating stage because it feels like it requires highly evolved individuals. Even understanding it feels like higher consciousness that is outside of the belief that most people hold about relationships. With a lot of people being consumed with the fact that relationships are hard and being in a great relationship seems like a tall order. After reading the extracts, I was like asking myself, who gets to this stage? When most of the society seems to have less confidence in relationships. Kings, do you know any people who are here? I mean, we talk a lot about our grandparents and great grandparents who had lasting relationships. But even then, some people would argue and say it's because our grandmothers and great grandmothers were silenced and conditioned to stay in unhealthy marriages.
You cannot see into someone else's relationship, but no, I haven't really seen it. Not in a romantic relationship. However, our working partnership is pretty close to this. Like your husband said, he respects our relationship and is very proud of us for honoring each other's individual businesses, yet at the same time being dedicated to unique yet connected. So it is doable. Interdependence sounds like a utopia, but there is evidence that you can reach it. Here, you don't expect to complete, but to complement each other. You add to each other. You can completely rely on the backing, the support from your partner, and he is from you. Even when your opinions differ, you are still sure that the love is there and unmoving. We work well together because the highest reward for us is growing together.
Thank you for that, Kings. We do work well together. And yes, growing together makes it very sweet. In the social media videos, I mentioned about the older women choosing to have connections with women friends than with romantic partners, as implying that lasting connections are in friendships and with women. Why does it seem to me that it's easier to get into an inter-independent stage in a friendship than a romantic relationship?
Yeah, this is a good question. John Bradshaw, the inner child development specialist, said that it normally takes a couple 25 years to get to the inter-independent stage, if ever, because it only happens when you are constantly working on the relationship and fight for it when the going gets hard. Couples who have been together 25 years don't always reach this stage. To get here, you have to consciously make an effort to prioritize connection over anything that happens in your relationship. Friendships can last a lifetime and have the time to develop into an inter-independent relationship. Also, we have different expectations toward our partners compared to our friends. We accept that our friends have their own lives. We are not so willing to accept the same when it comes to our partners. The relationship and the people in it have to feel completely safe and secure about each other's intentions to allow this to happen.
Okay, does the fact that people are not willing to accept their partners or husbands or wives have their own lives an issue of control or fear. I've seen how reluctant or uncomfortable it makes us feel to accept our romantic partners as people who have their own lives outside of ours. Is it an issue of wanting to own them, or do we feel they owe their independence to us? You are still listening to episode 74. The theme is There is a Way to Reach a Perfect Relationship. Remember, when you comment, ask questions, like and share our content and links, you help us grow and change lives together. Like us on Facebook and on Instagram.
I loved what the article said in the magazine. Do not complete, but complement each other. How often we say about our love that he is my second half. He completes me. This means that you were not whole before your partner arrived. He is the complete half. Maybe we should say the following. With you on my side, I grow and transform into my best self.
I like what you just said there. And yes, he completes me. Those words have been used over and over again, even in the movies. In fact, let's talk about the movies. I feel the movie business has played a role in how we view romantic relationships. The fantasy and unrealistic interpretation of what and how a relationship should be has created expectations. And this idea that I'm not a full person until I meet the one who will complete and fill this void. So maybe this is what the narrative that people approach relationships with, both men and women. I know I did at some point. So yes, the magazine says the people who live in the interdependent stage of a relationship are people who complement each other and who have a solid sense of who they are as individuals outside their relationship. That sounds like people who are whole. How does being whole look like, Kings?
I don't fully know, but I would say to take full responsibility for who you are. Finding your belonging with who you are and where you come from, making an effort to understand the system you live in. When we draw the family tree, the genealogram, then there is your family and your husband's family, and your husband's family doesn't belong to you. They belong to your husband, and your family belongs to you. These are two independent family lines that merge in your children. Conventionally, you become part of your husband's family and he is into yours. But when you try to find your belonging there, you will not find it. In a happy relationship with your in-laws, you will find acceptance and even love, but not your belonging. You belong with your husband because you created a new system and to your family, which is your old system. Yet, to create the strongest bond between you and your husband, you have to respect your husband's family and he has to respect yours. When you honor who you are complete. Then whatever you get from your husband and the families can be honored as a gift and taken fully.
When you honor who you are complete. Please remember to share this episode to help the next person as well as helping us grow our podcast.
Thank you for your contribution in helping us to be chosen into the top 10 South Africa Family Podcast by FeedSpot. Join our monthly virtual connection circle every first Tuesday evening of the month. To receive your link, subscribe on our website www.youniqueyetconnected.com or check for updates on our socials at youniqueyetconnected. If if you feel like you are experiencing limiting patterns or relationship issues and would like to have an individual session, book a family constellation session with us on our website, www.youniqueyetconnected.com, or on socials, Facebook or Instagram. Our handle on both platforms is @UniqueYetConnected.
A big thank you to you for listening to our episode, and to Nick Mons from That Guy Productions for making us sound fabulous and on point. Episode 75 is in 2 weeks' time from now. Tune in on the 13th of July 2025 from 10 a.m. South African Standard Time. For links and updates, stay tuned to our Facebook and Instagram pages @Younique Yet Connected. Younique spelled YOUNIQUE. Stay unique, stay connected, and remember, you are one of a kind, and we can only create a really meaningful podcast together. Siyabulela, Kosonom, Bayadangi.
Thank you. Siyabulela, Kusanum, Bayadangi.